Alright guys, Sky here for the Mental Metal channel and mentalmetaldetecting.com, and today we're going to do a really different video with some new technology that's out there. A lot of you guys have probably heard, or gals have probably heard, the ChatGPT craze going on in the world. Well, I'm all in. I'm learning all about this AI, generative AI, LLMs, all those fancy technical terms. Um, but I thought I would do a video completely different today on metal detecting using ChatGPT. Now, if you think for a second that ChatGPT is going to go out and dig the holes for you, find you the treasure in the targets, no, that is not how this works. But ChatGPT can help you research and figure out new places to go. I've been playing around with this thing a lot lately, and I've found some really interesting um, ways to prompt the tool to actually give you some good information. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is going to be like a basic introductory kind of video on how to use ChatGPT and combine it with metal detecting research. But if this is something more you guys want to know more about, let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that, especially hitting those like buttons and subscribing. I do have a Patreon channel that I have a lot of folks in that are really interested in this subject, and I'm going to have a workshop for them. If you're not a Patreon member and you want to join me over on Patreon, there's links in the description for you to join. There's a small fee you can pay. There's 3 or 4 different tiers you can join just to help support the channel. I appreciate that, but I give a lot back in Patreon to my subscribers over there. So eventually everybody sees most of the things I put out on my YouTube channel, but a lot of the stuff that goes on interactively happens over on Patreon, and I do share some things before I post them to YouTube over on YouTube memberships as well. So please, if you don't like Patreon, you can also join the memberships over on YouTube on my channel. And I just really appreciate the support. It just really helps keeps my channel going and gets the gear and things I need to keep going. So, all right, enough of the plug for Patreon and YouTube memberships. So yeah, so I've been using ChatGPT now for a while. I've been taking some classes through my job and things to kind of get ahead and get figured out how to use this kind of stuff for my job and for my own side hustle kind of things that I like to do. And one of them happens to be research. So I do a lot of research and stuff on places to go, places to metal detect. And so I just want to go through some simple examples of how you can use ChatGPT to help you maybe help you do some research. So it's all about the way you prompt. You're going to hear the term prompt engineering. Just get used to those phrases. That's going to be the buzzword here in this video. If you know how to prompt engineer the tool here, you can get it to give you some really cool information. So one of the things I like to do when I'm doing research specifically for metal detecting is I like to tell ChatGPT to act like, and you actually come down here in the text box, um, act like a historian, or you can even say act like a history teacher or something that has to do with history. And maybe I'm researching an area around my home for old home sites that may exist. Um, you could actually do this a couple different ways. I'll do it this way first. I'm not going to give you the location of where I live, so let me pick a place. Act like a historian, doing research on Civil War activity, American Civil War. Be as specific as you can. American Civil War activity around the Union Mills, capitalize, Mills, Maryland area, and tell me which troops passed through the area. That's a very basic prompt, not a lot of detail to it, but let's see what it says. And so I prompted it, I give it the question, and it gives me the history, a little bit about Union Mills, located in Carroll County, Maryland, played a strategic role during the American Civil War, particularly around the time of the Battle of Gettysburg. This is all factual things that you can go look up and actually verify. Key troops and events. So it's interesting. The First Corps, Army of the Potomac, was there. The 11th Corps, Army of the Potomac, gives you the general who actually led and they encamped in Union Mills on the night of June 30th, 1863, before continuing towards Gettysburg. For the Confederate forces, they had a Confederate cavalry, Brigadier General Jeb Stuart. That's a very, very well documented, factual, historical thing that happened in Union Mills. Significance of the area: Union Mills was a crucial location for movement of Union troops towards Gettysburg. Historical markers: there's a historical markers preserved in the Union Mills homestead. I'm not gonna read all this to you, but that gives you a lot of factual information just by asking it a simple question like that. Now, if you didn't know anything about this area, you just now got some leads to a lot of information. Like, I could now continue the prompt and say, well, who made up the First Corps? Let's see what it actually tells me. I want to know who made up the First Corps. Question mark. Let's see what it tells me. Because we're continuing the conversation, right? So we're also, talking to it as if we were, continuing conversation. So this is look how much information you got in a split of a second here. Commanding structure: commanding officer Major General Reynolds until his death on the first day of Gettysburg. After his death, Major General Abner Doubleday, and later to Major General John Newton. Divisions and brigades. So you had the first division, Brigade General James S. Wadsworth, and it tells you the 19th Indiana, 24th Michigan, 2nd Wisconsin, and then the 2nd Brigade had Indiana, New York. Then the 2nd Division Brigade had 16 May, Massachusetts. All of these people, all these troops, soldiers passed through Union Mills. Isn't that amazing? It's just really cool. I mean, this thing can tell you a lot about an area if you don't have a history of it and you don't know and you want to figure something out, this is way better in my opinion than reading books and things. You get what you need very quickly by asking questions. Now, let's say for instance, I wanted to continue this conversation. I'm still acting as a historian. It's giving me everything I need to know. But let's say for instance, now we want to change over to maybe we want to ask it a question like, in the area, are there any home sites older than 100 years old? And let's see. And provide me I'm not going to say, provide me the name and address of the owner of those sites, of those homes today. Let's see what it says. Well, I can provide you historical information about homes that are older than 100 years old in Union Mills. Let me go back up a little bit. I can't provide the current names and addresses of the owners due to privacy concerns and need to respect their individual privacy. So, notable historical homes in Union Mills. You have the Schreiber Homestead, the Union Mills Homestead. It tells you a little bit more. Now, if I wanted to, I could also try to prompt it to give me something more specific. So let's say, for instance, let's change now and let's say, well, act like a realtor, if I spell it right. I always spell that wrong. And provide a list of homes that are older than 100 years old in Union Mills, Maryland. Let's see if that gives me a little bit more specific. There we go. Historic homes in Union Mills. Gives me a little bit more information on those two properties, but it also adds in a historic district nearby, the Sykesville Historic District. There are various homes built in the 19th century. So that's interesting. I was hoping it would give me a little bit more than that. It does give me the addresses of the historic homes, the homestead, but it didn't really tell me much about the addresses um, that I was looking for. So I was hoping to find homes. So you have to play around and prompt this thing a little bit more. You can get to where you want to get. Like you can get a list of home sites and things. I'm just showing you an example of how I'm prompting it, and there's way better ways of doing it. But I'm just trying to tease out what you can and can't do. Now let's start a new chat, completely new chat, and let's go and let's act like um, I love history. Oh, wait, let's do this. You're talking to the ChatGPT engine. You love history and your passion is metal detecting. Can you provide some ideas where you can find really old or silver coins metal detecting? Let's see what it gives us there. So we start a new chat. We're acting like somebody completely different. And it's going to tell me finding old silver coins in the metal detector can be exciting and rewarding. Here are some ideas for locations where you might have luck: old homesteads and farmhouses, churches and schools, parks and fairgrounds, old trails and roads, beaches and swimming holes, abandoned towns, ghost towns, battlefields, military campsite, privately owned land and permission, riverbanks and creeks, old picnic areas and campgrounds. And it gives you, when you're choosing location, research its history, understand its potential, always ensure you have the permission, blah blah blah. So these are good ideas, 10 ideas. Um, but they're not really, these are pretty common ones. Let's see if it can give me another 10. Can you give 10 more ideas? Let's see if it does anything else here. Colonial sites, trading posts, railroad stations, historic inns and taverns, festival grounds, old mines and mining camps, fishing spots, interesting, historical marketplaces, or old playgrounds, libraries, and courthouses. Now, what you can do is you could take one of those and say, can you tell me where any old, let's just pick playgrounds that exist today or in the past in the area of Tawny Town. I'm totally guessing on this one. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. But you get the idea. If you were actually doing your own research, you could actually um, ask this thing the same question. So it's not giving, oh, actually, here it is. So it's actually giving me some specifics, places I might want to investigate. So the Robert Mill Park. This is a park that has been a part of Tiny Town for many years and could have older playgrounds areas or or be a site where gatherings happened in the past. The Tiny Town Memorial Park, established in the 50s, is worth checking to see if there are any earlier playgrounds or recreational facilities within the park. Francis Scott Key High School in the surrounding area. I didn't know that. So the downtown area of Tawny Town could have smaller playgrounds or gatherings where children played. Um, Interesting. So I mean, I got a couple new ideas here. If I didn't know about these parks, I now know. It's also given me some ideas on where to go to town records, aerials, and maps and things like that. And talking to longtime residents might help you. So these are some things you can do. Now, if you're like, I'm going to do a workshop in my own Patreon group about really how to prompt some of these things for Civil War searching and things. But um, this is something I just wanted to tease out there for you guys. If you haven't been using this, it's something you might want to consider looking into. But you really have to understand how to prompt the engine here to get the right results. Now we're just playing around tonight using some really, really basic things. I have figured out some really cool prompts that I think would really blow your mind if I did those. But I'm not ready to show those just yet because I'm actually testing them some more. And if I get to a point where I feel like they are absolutely fantastic and going to give you really good results, I may share those. But for now, I'm just teasing this out a little bit just to see if there's any interest in this topic in metal detecting. If you guys are interested in doing more of this stuff with me, please let me know. Share, put something in the comments. Let me know what you think. Um, I think it's really cool. There's some pretty cool stuff in here that you could do. So we're just scratching the surface. So get ready and hang on for the ride, folks. This is the future. A lot of you seasoned veterans out there who don't like technology, this may not be for you. But some of us out there who are willing to help you learn some of this stuff. Just be receptive. Just try to keep an open mind on this stuff. We're not gonna take down the world with ChatGPT. Trust me, this isn't that kind of AI, artificial intelligence. Not yet. um, but this stuff can help a lot of things. So I'm actually doing a lot of research from an area that I'm probably moving to in January, and I'm really uncovering a lot of things that I didn't know about the area, and I'm using ChatGPT. So um, it's really cool. So I think you guys should give it a chance. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Hit me up. I'll do the best I can answering your questions over the comments. But like I said, if you aren't a member of my channel, please subscribe. Consider subscribing. This is the kind of stuff we get into in my channel. We get down and dirty in some of these how-to kind of things with machines, and now we're gonna get into this stuff and play around with it. So join me. All right, let's have some fun with this. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in another mental video.